Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. Ibadan explosions, 3 dead, 77 injured, 58 houses damaged. Crowdfunding for ransom payments will worsen kidnapping, says federal government. Obi of Onitsha tackles Soludo for suspending monarchs. Jimo Ibrahim rallies support in Davos for Tinubu's policies. Edopo Igodalo joins race as LP pegs form at 30 million naira. NERC, all case hike in electricity tariff. CBN to crack down on forex violators. Rivers Assembly clears nominees, and government set to crash prices of medicines. Okay, which story are we starting with in the nation?
So some telecommunications subscribers yesterday were expressing displeasure over the barring of their lines by telcos, despite having linked their national identification number, that's the NIN, with their subscriber identity module, that's the SIM cards. They said that telcos, including MTN, Airtel, Globalcom, and 9 Mobile, have been directed by the Nigerian Communications Commission to implement full network barring on all phone lines for which the subscribers had not submitted their NINs, and those verified NINs by February 28, 2024. That's next month. And they said the NINs that had been submitted but not verified were to be barred on or before March 29, 2024. Also, cases where you have about 5 or more lines linked to an unverified NIN, that one has to be barred in February. So those people who have less than 5 SIM cards linked to their NIN, they will extend it to April 15, 2024. So they said that the customer service of different of these telcos were filled to the brim because a lot of customers were upset about the fact that they had already linked their NIN to their SIM cards, but yet they found that their phone lines were bad, and so they were questioning why that happened. And I had a few friends call me to ask me, they were not able to reach one of my lines, and they were saying if I was bad. I said that one is a different issue. So I think the telcos need to really sort out what is going on with people, because some of these lines are used for businesses, and if it's bad, you can't get in calls or take calls for your business.
More importantly, it's used for keeping in touch with family members and everything. So I have crowdfunding for ransom payments will worsen kidnapping, says a federal government. So yesterday, the Federal Executive Council, after the Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja, we had the defense minister speak with journalists, and then he talked about cautioning Nigerians against going public to raise money to secure release of kidnapped victims. He says that first of all, it's illegal. We have a law against it in Nigeria to do that. He says, second of all, it makes the situation worse when you crowdfund for ransoms that way. And so that's why it's illegal, because it doesn't make it better. It makes it like a more palatable source of income for these, for these criminals. And then, as we remember, former communications minister had openly come out on the internet to say he had raised, the ransom for the poor, for the family of the girl that had lost her life. Yeah. Yes, and that it's not security-wise, that was a wrong move to have made. Anyway, they said that, this is something we need to be aware of. It is illegal. You cannot come out and crowdsource for funds. Then we also have the IG of police and the FCT minister also, sitting down and having these conversations about security. The police have set up what they call SIS. So this SIS is called, what do they break it as? Special Intervention Squad. And they will be deployed to all the different councils in Abuja. The Minister of Defense also tried to explain. He says, yes, a lot of people have been calling out FCT because of kidnapping, but he says this is quite widespread. But why it's even more prevalent right now is because of all the military operations happening in the northwest and northeast. These bandits are running away from these places, and then they're finding areas around the FCT to camp. And so, that's why it seems like they have a lot of this happening right now. But he says this is widespread, and they're continuing to fight this menace until there's nothing left.
They had checkpoints all over Abuja, And for me, it's so reactionary. It's not, you know, this could have been done before.
Yeah.
You're waiting for it to happen before you react.
Organize yourself.
Yeah.
And anyway, I took the story of, did you take the story of the Obi?
Yes, I did. So what happened was that, if you recall, back in the Yuletide season, the monarchs, 3 monarchs, actually conferred to Senator Ubah the 3 different titles was conferred on him, and unfortunately for them, the government reacted to that conferment, saying that it's lacked due process. According to the report, the governor's first response suspended the erring traditional rulers, citing negligence of due process and awarding chieftaincy titles to them, and they actually apologized for that and withdrew those 3 chieftaincy titles. However, they went further to write a letter to
the Obi himself.
The Obi himself, yes. And unfortunately, also, the traditional ruler of Onitsha and chairman of the Anambra State Traditional Rulers Council, Igwe Alfred Achebe, faulted the suspension of the monarch by the state government, saying that the letter lacked respect. He said, you publicly visited the scenes of an unrecognized, self-acclaimed traditional ruler on the global traditional institution. He said that without providing evidence for your sweeping statement, the tone and language of your letter were by any means a public riot act and pontification to the same majority who bestowed the power on you.
He also...
yes, go ahead, Mike.
Because I took it in the Sun as well. He said that the governor had treated them like hungry people. That, is it the 175,000 stipends, monthly stipends that you give them? That's...
Give him the
that
other
it's making you talk to them. These people live on their own personal income, what they've made throughout the years. So
but the real issue is that the senator is running under APC. And is likely to run for governorship next year. So in preempting that, they gave him chieftaincy titles. These 3 monarchs gave him. So obviously, the government wasn't comfortable with that. Why would you give my main opponent? You just confer without even following due process. What you're doing already, you're already...
picking sides.
Picking sides and also contradicting the due process of selecting who you give conferred chieftain titles to. So obviously, the government responded to them, and then that's how...
but the Obi is saying that they should have written privately, not publicly shamed them. You could have suspended them privately.
Moving on quickly now to the Punch. About the explosion, residents blame Malian illegal miners as FG probes the blast. Ondo Amotekun arrest 19 kidnappers and 17 others. Student loan begins January as federal government opens website soon. FG seeks $1.5 billion loan to shore up Naira boost budget. Abductions, FG faults Nigerians crowdfunding to pay ransom. Government suspends electricity tariff hike. Power subsidy hits 1.6 trillion naira. And CBN to tackle forex infractions with heavy sanctions. Let's take one story before we run.
Oh, the CBN has uncovered infractions, gross abuses, and non-compliance with foreign exchange market regulations. The bank says that it will punish those responsible for these abuses in collaboration with relevant agencies. So the acting director of communications, Mrs. Sidi Ali, was the one who disclosed this in Abuja yesterday. So she says that in its bid to clear the backlog of outstanding foreign exchange liabilities, the Apex Bank has paid approximately $2 billion across various sectors, including manufacturing, aviation, and petroleum. She also stated that they've also cleared up the entire liability of 14 banks and started settlements with foreign airlines. And that's good news. As we know, that's something that we had been discussing a lot in 2023. She also said that the bank commissioned an independent forensic review of the process by a reputable firm and has affirmed that the payment of forex backlog for qualified transactions have commenced. Noted that the review revealed grave infractions, gross abuse, and significant non-compliance with market regulations, and appropriate sanctions will be enforced in collaboration with relevant agencies.
Okay, let's go on a short break now. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.